All right, it's the end of 2017. 2018's coming up. Are you ready? Ah!
Donkey Jaw Projects!
Ah! Um, I don't know, like how did we all do this year, you know? I had some goals for 2017 and I'll be honest, I kind of didn't get to them. Had a lot of distractions. Um, 2017 was a rough year for me. To be honest, probably the roughest year I've had in my life. Like just personal things I won't get into. Um, but you know, we're still afloat. We're still doing okay. You know, got our things going on, and but I still was able to be creative, even though there was things going on that were tough. So I think, you know, I kind of used that creativity as an outlet. You know, you've seen videos from me. There's been definitely times where you didn't see videos from me for like a month or so during this year. And, you know, it is what it is, but what I found out was even though I have life things going on, I realized that it's actually important to me to keep going with art and with producing content like on YouTube and stuff, just because it helps me to have that outlet where, you know, life is serious, life can be tough, but you know, there's like something there that kind of helps you. I mean, for me, my biggest thing is I rely on God. You know, my faith is a huge part of my life. That's the number one thing. But you know, it's also helpful to have, you know, a project to kind of help you be a little bit distracted for, you know, small time moments of time sometimes when you're going through something. So, you know, it was helpful is what the point is, to be able to do some creative things and even like kind of therapeutic, you know, it helps you kind of process and things like that. So that being said, there's a lot of things that are looking a lot better about the stuff that was tough in 2017 for me. So that's awesome. There's also, you know, I just have a different perspective. One of the goals, and it's kind of a silly goal, but it's one that for some reason I thought was a fun goal to kind of reach for, and I did enjoy it trying to, was I wanted to get to 1,000 subscribers this year on YouTube, and I did make a pretty big leap. I gained about 100 and somewhere from 150 to 200 subscribers, but I'm still about 200 shy from the mark of 1,000. I actually did hit up to 800 at one point, and then I posted the Christmas music video things that I did, and I posted them all in a row, which is not something I want to ever do. Even before I did that, I didn't want to do it, but it was getting so close to Christmas, I wanted people to have time to check it out and stuff, you know, before the season was done. So what I should have done was made like a little video kind of explaining that I was about to do this, but again, time kind of messed me up. So it is what it is. I had 800 subscribers and I lost 5, you know, kind of from doing that, I guess, which is fine. It is what it is. But in the future I will be putting up more music, because you'll hear about how soon. But you know, it'll be like one song at a time most likely, and you know, if I do put up a bunch at once, you know, I will somehow warn everybody, because obviously my channel is more about art, but really it's Donkey Jaw Projects, which encompasses everything I do. So that being said, I didn't reach that goal specifically, but you know, I had some other goals that I wrote down. I didn't go through and like check to see, did I make this goal, did I make that goal. I don't know, for some reason maybe I should, but maybe I feel like it's not as helpful for me as it should be. I don't know. It probably is. I should, but it's stupid like social media stuff, like Instagram followers and all that kind of stuff. So that being said, this year just went way different than I had could ever imagine, and it was a really cool year because we did the 100 Days of Comics anthology. We all created our comics this year. It feels like it was like more than a year ago that we did that. It seems like another lifetime ago. So we all spent 100 days to make our comic, and some of us went beyond that. And but they were all finished, probably before 150 days was done, or 130 maybe. And then, we were working on, formatting the book and, getting it, all the files and everything all in order. And me, Chris McQuinlan, and Mike Emirates have been working on that all year, with gaps, and stuff. But, and we're about to launch the Kickstarter, actually, so that's going to be a cool thing for 2018. So that's really exciting, and the book came out amazing. We've got a proof copy already, and it just looks beautiful. I mean, there's going to be some edits, of course, but nothing too crazy. But it looks great. So I'm super excited for that in 2018. So what else are we looking forward to in 2018? For me personally, well, I think there's going to be a lot of 100 Days of Making Comics activity again, which is, it's typical, I think, in the beginning of the year for people to start that. There's actually a bunch of people doing it now, too, which I need to keep up with a little bit better. So that's really cool. There was definitely people doing it this year, who I was keeping up with and stuff. So that, congratulations to all of you who did accomplish that. But for me, my goal this year is, and I did contemplate doing like 100 Days of Making Comics again. I've done it 2.5 times. And one thing that I was thinking of, a couple months before we got in, before now, I was thinking about like, what am I going to do for 2018? And I was thinking, I could do 100 Days of Making Comics, but I've done that before, and I feel like even when I did it, like I was like the original time that, not this year, but the year before, I did it, and then I was like, well, why don't I just keep making comics? Like, I'm not going to stop making comics. I'm still working on my projects. So I did back-to-back 100 days, because like, well, I might as well just keep going. But I did take a break for October, but, so I ended up doing a second round before the year was out. And then after that, we were doing the 100 Days of Making, the 100 Days anthology. So I, again, was kind of doing that, working on comics. But I didn't do it, officially. But I was working on comics. But so the point is like, I need to just be always making comics. My goals is to put out as many stories as I possibly can, and learn how to be a good storyteller as an artist and as a writer. I've come to a conclusion this year that that's what I want to do. I've had a lot of deviations throughout the years, a lot of, just different projects and stuff, distractions. And through trying a lot of different things, I've come to realize that I originally wanted to make comics for a living. I wanted to, and I think at the core of that is storytelling. And so I really want to put out stories, but it takes time to develop all these stories. It takes time to draw them. I mean, I'm open to working with other artists as well. I have a lot of story ideas, like a ridiculous amount of story ideas. And it just like, they keep coming. Like, I can keep coming up with ideas. That's not the problem. The problem is execution and finishing and honing the craft where I'm good enough. And one of the things that I came to the conclusion of this year was I would like a kind of a bucket list goal for me is to be published at Image Comics. It's just something that has been one of the biggest inspirations for me since I was a kid. Seeing the Image founder artists creating new characters, even in the Marvel universe, and then moving over to Image was like, when I saw that, that was like, this is what I want to do. And from then on, I was working on trying to figure out how to make comics. It took me forever to finally get to the point where I made my first comic, but whoa. But you know, I eventually did make a few comics, you know, mini comics and stuff, and you know, now I'm working on the 12 stories and book, and I have another announcement coming up pretty soon that kind of involves what I'm talking about. So yeah, that'll be fun and interesting too, I think. And I'm also learning storytelling. I'm reading a book called Story Genius right now. Still, I've been kind of small, bit by bit going through that, learning a ton, learning some really interesting things, and other books as well. I've been checking out Unnatural Talent by Jason Brubaker, was really good and interesting. So I've been doing that. I've also been trying to study stories. I mean, this year with Star Wars and stuff, I've been looking at reviews and seeing what other people say, and just learning about story, and just other things like Stranger Things. I've been you know, really trying to break down the story elements in a lot of different things. I started this thing called Comic Book Club, which is something I'm going to continue to do, where myself and anybody else who wants to be part of it can read. We're going to read each month. We're going to read a kind of like a trade paperback or a graphic novel, and we can all either make a video of it or a blog or whatever, and talk about the story elements in it, and try to learn from each other and just have fun. Spending some more time reading comics. Like, I don't spend enough time actually reading the thing I want to make, you know. So I have been doing that now. But it's helping me to learn the craft more. You know, it's not just I'm doing it for fun, which that's part of it too, but it's also I'm trying to learn the craft of storytelling. That's the point of what I'm doing right now, you know. So one of the it's an ancillary goal to become published by Image Comics. I don't think that's the be-all, end-all or anything, but it's a big goal to shoot for. And you know, it's this whole idea of building a rocket, the rocket ship, you know. I talked earlier this year about this whole thing about the movie Astronaut Farmer, and how, you know, he had that big dream to build his own rocket ship and go into space. And I mean, this is, you know, a fictional movie, but I think it is actually kind of probably based on a lot of people who are trying to actually do that. There's this whole thing with these people, like this, I think it was Google who put out this thing for, you know, people to independently send a droid to the moon to, you know, go and check stuff out and whatnot. And it's actually supposed to be happening by the end of this year. They keep delaying the end of it because of different issues, but whatever. Anyway, so that is an actual thing. But this movie was inspirational to me because, you know, my wife had been like, oh, if you had a big dream like that, I would support you too. And I'm like, well, I kind of do have a big dream like that, but I guess it's not my fault. It's my fault for not making it a clear dream, you know. So I was like, so how could I make it like a clear dream? And I thought of the idea that I've had for a long time of getting published by Image Comics, and I thought that was the perfect thing, like, to get published by Image Comics. Like, I'm not there yet. I need a lot of work to go there. It's a big dream, you know. It's a kind of a doable dream, but it's not doable if I'm going at the pace I'm going, you know. So, you know, I want it to become something I'm actually pushing towards for a reality, and I feel like pushing towards that goal will help me become a better storyteller. In the process, will help me to produce more stories, get stuff more published, you know, and it'll make me a better, you know, visual artist as well, and visual storyteller. So that's the big dream. The big rocket ship dream is to get published at Image Comics. But I'll probably get published, or I shouldn't presume to say I will, but I will look to get published at other companies as well, and also self-publish. All that is part of the whole thing. I would like to create a career, with my independent properties, but that's like the big goal, but this whole, getting published at Image Comics is a big part of that. So what am I going to do towards that end this year in 2018? Well, it's easy to be like, hey, I'm going to, create this goal to be published this year. I'm going to be published by Image Comics this year, or even like I'm going to put in, 10 submissions for different comic ideas through Image Comics or other publishers this year, or these different goals that measure more like results, like I'm going to get this result, or I'm going to finish this book, this story, and this other book by the end of this year, or whatever. Like all these kind of result-based goals, I realize that I'm not good at making result-based goals and then following through, and I'm also when I do not follow through, it gets very discouraging. So I've learned throughout the years that it's actually better to create work-based goals. I'm going to do this much work. I mean, that's what the 100 Days of Making Comics teaches you. It's like, I'm going to do 100 days worth of work of at least 30 minutes a day on my comic. And if I hit that goal, I've succeeded, even if I haven't gotten a comic out through the process, and there's other goals like that too, like Sketchbook Summer I did this year, even October. Those are more work-based goals. It's not so much result-based goals. So that's what I'm going to move forward with. So I've done the 100 Days of Making Comics a couple times, 2.5 times to be exact, and I still love that challenge. I'm still involved with the community. I'll never stop being involved with the community, I don't think, because it's just an awesome community, and we have a ton of fun in the private hangouts and the Facebook forum, just in videos and talking back and forth to each other, things like that. We've become kind of a creator-based family type thing. It's been a good thing. So I'll never not be a part of that, I don't think. I love what Kevin Cross has created there, and I think I think we're going to continue to develop that and move forward, and I want to be a part of that. But the actual challenge is something that I've done a few times, and I was thinking, like, because I'm still going to be making comics beyond 100 days, like, what can I do that's maybe not the 100 Days of Making Comics, because I don't necessarily want to make 100 more videos or whatever. So I was trying to think, like, how could I kind of modify this to be towards my own goals or whatever. So, and this is in no way something I want other people to necessarily, like, follow me or anything or do. Like, I think that everybody should just, continue with 100 days or their own goals, however they want to do it. But for me, I know I still do need that accountability, because it's true, like, a lot of times, a lot of us who have done the 100 days will come back to 100 days because we still want to make our comics, but for whatever reason, once the 100 days is over, sometimes we lose sight of that, we get distracted, we try other things, and then we're like, crap, I still want to be making comics, but I got distracted or whatever. So I feel like I still need that accountability. I still think that's an important piece to the puzzle. But I want to just make comics all year round, basically, every year. To get all the projects out and to do the goals that I want to do, I have to be producing constant. Like, I have to be spending a lot of time, because it takes a long time just to make a mini comic, it takes a lot of time. So I can't stop. Like, I can't have these big gaps of, like, 1 month, 2 months, a half a year. That's just not, I'm never going to get to my goal if I do that. So what am I going to do this year? What's the plan? What's the goal? the goal, the plan is, I'm not calling it this, but 365 days of making comics. There's 365 days in the year 2018, and that's the goal. Now, what do I mean by this? Because it's a little bit different than just like straight, but it is going to be like for at least 30 minutes a day, and also a smaller goal of at least 5 minutes a day in my sketchbook, just practicing, and hopefully that'll be more than 5 minutes, but I think 5 minutes is doable, so I'm doing that, or that's the plan. I'm going to try my best not to do any kind of challenges or other distractions that I can't fit within this goal, So like sketchbook summer, I'm already going to be doing 5 minutes anyways, so I might do that. I might do like a small sketchbook or something this time. I'm not going to do the full big 200-page one that I did this year. But the point is this is what I want to do for 30 minutes a day, every day. One thing though is I'm taking Sundays off, but I still want to put in the time that counts for that day, because I'll probably do more than a half an hour some days. So I want to track my actual time. I'm trying to find a way, like a spreadsheet or something. Mike helped me out with a cool spreadsheet, but I think I might need a little bit different solution for what I'm trying to do. Because I want to track it throughout the whole year. How much time did I spend each day working on comics, whether it's writing or drawing or whatever. So I want to see by the end of the year, did I do 365 or more days worth of making comics? I'm tracking the work, not the results again. So I'm trying to find a way that's good to track that. So anyways, but I am taking Sundays off because I've been doing that lately. And that's kind of how I made this little like Christmas EP beat, hip hop beat thing, and done a few other things. Is like on Sundays, that's the day that I can do whatever I want. I could take the day off completely, whatever. But it's, I don't have to like, and I could also work on the comic, so we'll see. Like I may actually work on the comic those days, but it's also, it's like, it's good to have that day off. I feel like trying to do 100 days or 365 days straight, that's a cool goal, but to me it's also part of my faith too, like taking a day off on the Sabbath type of thing, which I'm not going to get into theology on that, it's kind of an Old Testament thing, but whatever, people bring it into now, and but it's still that concept of rest, taking a day for rest. You shouldn't work 100% all the time. There is worth in resting. So I'm taking that time off, but I still want to do the work that makes up for 365 days. So I'm going to be tracking my actual time. Also 5 minutes a day on warm-ups. If I miss the 5 minutes a day, I'm not going to really worry about that. I may or may not track that. I'm not sure. I probably should, just because. But, but if I fail on that, I'll be okay. That's not my main goal. My main goal is to work on the comics, to figure out this storytelling thing, to learn. Publishing, marketing things, that's not going to count towards making the comics. I'm trying to figure out if like book formatting, like does that count in making comics? I don't know. I want to do this honestly. Research, does that count towards making comics? I'm not sure. Like to me, because research can be endless. So like if I researched for a half an hour, does that count? Is that actually pushing my comic forward? I think I'm probably going to lean towards no. It's going to have to be like actual working on comics that pushes it forward. So writing, drawing, character development, things like that, But even in the prep stages, like creating the environment and all that stuff, like it does push towards, but you can spend too much time in that. So I don't know. I'm going to figure it out as I go, or maybe I'll figure it out right before, January 1st. We'll see. Let's see, is there anything else? Like I said, I'm doing Comic Book Club, one video a month where I'll be talking about a comic that that I've read, and hopefully other people have joined in and read with me. Also, for this 365 days of building my rocket ship, I'm not going to call it making comics because I'm not trying to step on the toes of things that like Kevin Cross and all of us have done. You know, I want the 100 Days of Comics to be its thing, and I still think it's an awesome challenge. Maybe one day I'll do that again. You know, I want that accountability still. I don't want to make a video every day of the year, you know. That to me is a little bit of a distraction. I'll still keep doing YouTube videos. I'm trying to still continue to do one a week, you know, but it's a fuzzy one a week. Some weeks I do more than one, some weeks I might miss one, you know. It is what it is. But the goal is like one a week. But as far as like this challenge, I'd like to do an update once a week on how the challenge is going, how many hours did I work on that week, you know, what's the progress I've done, things like that. So I'll probably be doing that as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. You know, that's what I'm doing for 2018. It's all about comics. The goal is to make comics. I don't know how, I don't have a goal on, you know, don't know if I'm going to finish the 12 stories book, if I'm going to finish some submissions for anthologies, if I'm going to finish like you know, a full floppy comic or a graphic novel or just a couple mini comics. I don't know what I'm going to finish or produce in this year, but what I am going to do is work on comics this year. It's work-based goals and not result-based. So, but I'm hoping that a lot of stories will come out of this and a lot of progress, and you guys will be able to read some things, you know, this year that I've created. That's the goal, like that's the hope, but I'm not focusing on the results again. So it's focused on the work. You know, hopefully it works out, and I've been very productive this year, and you know, and it sets up a habit that just keeps me constantly working on comics and getting towards this goal of being published at Image and other publishers and creating some kind of career through my independent properties, you know. So that's it. Hopefully you guys dug this video. Hopefully it was inspiring. I'm curious what you guys and girls are, what your goals are this year. Please feel free to let me know in the comments. Hope you're thinking about that and figuring it out, and I hope you guys have a great 2018 and hope you had a great 2017. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you on the next video. Peace out.